DeMar DeRozan has been snubbed as Steph Curry wins the Clutch Player of the Year award in 2024, and we have to talk about this. So what's up, guys? Welcome back to Bulls Digest. My name is Chris, and we're going to jump right into things. Because, guys, DeMar DeRozan has lost in the Clutch Player of the Year voting after being awarded as one of the three finalists, along with Steph Curry, the winner, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. It felt pretty clear to me that the right move would be to give it to Shai. Because DeRozan, in my mind, has been the most clutch player in the NBA this season. However, nope. Despite the fact that the Golden State Warriors have also missed the playoffs and were the 10th seed going into things, well, I guess somehow the Chicago Bulls being closer to going to the playoffs doesn't matter at all. And it does not matter that DeMar DeRozan's stats in the clutch were as good as Steph Curry's this year. But nope, it goes to Steph Curry. Not the most surprising thing ever. As you can see here, Shams did report this. This came out 12 minutes ago from me filming this. And if you look right here, this is the voting. Steph Curry won with a total of 280-something points. I can't read that screen right now. DeRozan at 272 is a close second. He was 9 first-place votes away from Steph Curry. Outside of him, the people who received first-place votes were Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Nikola Jokic, and Jalen Brunson, along with Luka Doncic, too. But look, this is a bummer because, I mean, it was an award that kind of felt like it was going to go to DeRozan around halfway through the season. And then this narrative started where it would be Steph Curry, who had an amazing year in the clutch. But also, it feels kind of weird to award Steph Curry with the Clutch Player of the Year award, considering how bad he has historically been in the playoffs in clutch situations. So I don't exactly know how Steph Curry won this award. I feel like if you're not going to give it to a playoff team, which you should regardless, I just felt like it should have been DeRozan in my opinion. But we know the Chicago Bulls do not really get recognized for anything, even if they're doing something well. And that's because the franchise is stuck in a state of mid. The ownership in Jerry Reinsdorf refuses to do any sort of rebuild no matter what. There's absolutely no way for this roster to truly contend outside of DeMar unless the Bulls want to trade away basically the entire roster for a basic island of broken toys form of all-star level players, I guess. I don't know. I don't really see any way for the Bulls to contend at all. And I think the world knows that, where Steph Curry has the hardware. He has 4 championships. He has a finals MVP now. They gave it to Steph Curry because he's Steph Curry. He's one of the 2 biggest names in the NBA right now, the other one being LeBron. And because of that, Steph Curry definitely gets the benefit of the doubt with awards most of the time. But hey, it is what it is. I don't think any of us are shocked to see DeMar DeRozan not win this because, as I said, the Bulls just don't win awards. Despite the fact that DeMar is leading the NBA in clutch points over the last 2 seasons, he has 0 Clutch Player of the Year awards to go with it. If you're wondering, De'Aaron Fox won it in the first year it was around in 2022. It felt like that was well-deserved also, to be fair to De'Aaron Fox. And they made the playoffs that year. They were the 3 seed. The Sacramento Kings were the 3 seed when De'Aaron Fox won this. Now we're going down to 10 just to give it to Steph Curry. I understand if you don't want to give it to a play-in team, you could give it to Shai. You could give it to Jalen Brunson. You could give it to Luka Doncic. Any one of those 3 could have deserved it as much as basically anyone outside of, I guess, Curry and DeRozan, who were the 2 most clutch players this season. But I don't know. I feel like they should have been in the playoffs if you want to give it to them. And if you don't, then it feels like it should have been DeRozan's. But I've said that like 5,000 times already because I really just, I don't know. I don't know why I'm surprised. I kind of kept telling myself all day it would be Steph Curry, and then it absolutely was Steph Curry. This season, DeMar led the league in points in the fourth quarter, in fourth quarter free throws, first in clutch free throws, second in clutch points to Steph Curry, I might add, and second in clutch buckets to Steph Curry. Also, I have to add that. In the clutch, he shot 47% from 49% from the field, 47% from 3, and 88% from the free throw line. I mean, the man did everything right. He's been one of the most clutch players in the NBA for a very, very long time. And once again, he just does not get the recognition that he deserves as DeMar DeRozan. This is also As much as this is not a surprise because the Bulls don't really win awards anymore, DeMar DeRozan is not an award-winning player no matter what the man does. He's been snubbed from all-star teams time and time again. It feels like he just never gets any recognition by the voters of any NBA awards. It felt like when he got on the All-NBA team in the first year that he was in Chicago, it kind of felt like that was something where they're like, yeah, I mean, obviously we have to give it to DeRozan because look how good they were before Lonzo Ball got injured. And DeRozan stayed good throughout all of it. It's the rest of the team fell apart. And DeMar's forced into these situations. I feel like his clutch numbers would be even better if he wasn't too busy carrying the entire Chicago Bulls franchise right now as a 35-year-old, but that's what's happening. And now he goes into free agency, and I don't think this will have any effect on this money. It doesn't mean the Bulls are going to be able to bring him back on a lower cost or anything like that. If the Bulls want to bring him back, it's probably going to be like 2 years, 80 million, like the contract he got offered, maybe an extra year after that, maybe 120. Getting the man paid, but regardless, as I've said before, I just don't see him finishing out that contract with the Bulls. At some point, Reinsdorf is going to have to give, and the Bulls are going to have to tank. I mean, how many times has this been tried now? I know this is kind of off topic, but how many times has it been tried? You bring in Dwayne Wade, you bring in Rajon Rondo to the Jimmy Butler core, then you pivot a year later, in that summer, you trade Jimmy Butler to the Minnesota Timberwolves out of thin air, trade for Lavine, trade for Lauri. You hold on to Lavine while Lauri ends up flourishing somewhere else, but he never got the touches in Chicago to do so. I don't understand why this franchise can't do anything correct almost. I don't get what's going on. This team has to absolutely just accept the fact that they will not succeed unless there is a rebuild. And the only reason I bring this up is because DeRozan deserves an award like this, but he can't get it because the Bulls are too bad for him to win an award. He's done everything he can, and this team can't make the playoffs. Maybe if they did, with DeRozan being one of the most clutch players in the NBA, he would be the one getting that award tonight. I guarantee you, if the Bulls beat the Heat in that game, in the play-in, for the 8th seed, DeRozan wins that award. 100%. I don't understand it. I don't understand why the Bulls insist on keep doing the same thing when all we're doing is watching this guy in DeMar DeRozan just not get the recognition he deserves because he's too busy carrying a Bulls team. It's so reminiscent of when the Knicks had Carmelo Anthony those years, when Melo would just go for 30 every single night, and then the Knicks would finish with like a 32-50 record or something. It's so similar. It's so similar. We're just watching this team battle into mediocrity, and all it's doing is just costing DeMar DeRozan the recognition that he so rightly deserves. I had to get that rant out. Guys, unsurprising, but look, I'll catch you on the next one. Hopefully things change in the offseason for the better.